So raising in that situation, we had to go 100 miles to get a Miles or James Brown record down to Denver, because the radio station was all country western. So we began to want to understand who we were, what we were about, understand ourselves.
Just have to ask, did you like country music?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you was making that drive more often
No.
than not.
Yeah, we because we understood they wasn't talking about nothing that we was talking about.
No, I got you.
Miles was saying something, James Brown and Jackie Wilson was saying something,
Okay.
you know. Okay. And so it did two things. One, it gave us a better appreciation for black culture and black people, because you have to go out and get it. Yeah. One of the things we noticed, I've talked to Taj Mahal about this. Taj Mahal, the great blues musician. Taj was raised in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, like Du Bois. There's a whole bunch of black folks come out of small towns.
Du Bois is one of the founding members.
Du Bois is the top black intellectual of the 20th century.
Oh, excuse me. I'm thinking you're talking.
W.B. Du Bois.
Yeah, I'm
right.
sorry. I thought you were talking
from
about
Great Barrington. And he was from a small town. So was Langston Hughes. Was it Joplin, Missouri?
Yes.
So is Richard Pryor from Peoria, Illinois. So who you sometimes think of these black folks as being from the big cities, they really came here, like we all came here, because this is where the black folks were. And what happens is that you have more of an appreciation. If you're around a bunch of black folks and the pathology of black folks and all that confusion, a lot of black folks, I don't see no, I wouldn't try to become white or become whatever. We came here looking and hungry for the culture. And we also appreciated the culture and could distinguish between the culture and the pathology. Because we understood the madness and the craziness. But I said, well, I don't want to go. When we first got to L.A., as an example, we'd go to the 5-4 ballroom where everybody, Ike and Tina Turner, Jackie Wilson, Hank Ballard, the Midnighters, Sam Cooke, Jerry, they all was there. And people, local people would say, I don't want to go down there. There's a bucket of blood and black folks cutting and killing and shooting. And we said, but that's where the energy is. You know, so we could appreciate that and not get caught up and not try to avoid the pathology and the madness and the self-hatred of our people, but we appreciated that. And we came here, I didn't come here for the sunshine, I didn't come here for the palm trees, I came out here because black folks were out here. Wow. We were going to go to school. That's how we were in school in Colorado playing basketball. That's how we came out here, to be with black folks. So it was a natural progression to come out here and appreciate this. And the next step was going to Africa, going to the Caribbean, because it's a continual search and interest in the story. You know, so that's how.
And you did that? Did you travel to the place to carry all of that? Okay.
Yeah, and what happened at being at the university, when I went to LA City College, went to Cal State LA, went to UCLA Law School, 1 year in Colorado. Being at the university, what the university did was this. It brought all black folks from around the world. You get a chance to talk to the Nigerians, you get a chance to talk to Jamaicans, you get a chance to talk to the Cameroonians, the Aborigines, because they're all there to get some information and some knowledge. And that's the whole university space is about information and knowledge. So you get a chance to really sit down and talk with the Jamaicans, really see what was going on and so forth. So that informed us and so forth, and that led us to join the movement. We were part of the Black Student Union that created Black Studies. And one of the things that we did that very few people talk about is that it was us and the Black Student Unions across the country that gave Ali a lot of money with the Muslims also gave him a lot of money when he was stripped of his title and got 10 years in jail, 5 years in jail, $10,000 fine. Because what we did was we took Ali around the country and he spoke at all the black colleges.
So that was how he was. I always wondered how he got to all those campuses.
We bring him to Cal State.
Wow.
Give him 5,000. Taking Cal State's Northridge, give him 5,000. UCLA another 10,000. Leave out LA about 30,000, 40,000, and go into Pittsburgh. So that's.
Now, were you one of these people just asking because some of those quotes and those sound bites today are still relevant and powerful? Were you in those conversations with him and trying to help, helping him to stay
We were part of the Freedom to Africa movement. I refused to fight in Vietnam. They drafted me 10 times, the whole thing, and we all said that we're not going to fight. We're going to go to Africa if it's necessary. and that was wrong. We supported Vietnamese. We did not. It was not just I'm against war. The Vietnamese were correct. It was their land. It was their country. They were right, and they were using us to go and fight those people. So and Ali, and all of us all said we weren't fighting. One of the again black studies, knowing a need for black studies, we brought Ali to campus at Cal State LA in 1967. At that time, he looked like God. He walked in the room, and you knew that God had walked in, a reflection of the sacred, the reflection of the matter. His physical being, his presence, his energy. He was eating consciously. He was eating halal food, whole wheat bread, and bean soup. The height of his thing. And everybody showed up to see him that we know. And so I'm sitting next to him I was the chairman of the Black Student Union at that point. Wow. Introduced him, and he was sitting here doodling like this, and I'll never forget this. A young brother in the back asked him, Brother Champ, what does it feel like to get convicted and get 5 years in jail, $10,000 fine, your title stripped, and you're the most famous person in the world? Ali put his pen down, brother, and stood like this and said, I'll do 10. This is verbatim. That shocked everybody, because everybody's 5 years, that's crumbles everybody, right? I'll do 20, brother. He said, first let me say this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad did 5 years in 1942 and didn't fight for the devil. We hadn't heard that. His son did 5 years in jail in Korea and didn't fight. Then his grandson was on trial with him and didn't fight. 3 generations. I'm not standing up. He said, besides, when I go to the joint, the Muslims run the joint. He said, when I was 17 years old and went to the Olympics, 17 white men owned my life. I was a slave already, locked up. He put his hands like that. I was bought and sold on an auction plate, and my life was over. They was going to give me $4 and give my mama $4, da-da-da-da. Says, they, thanks to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I own myself 100% completely. So we knew there was a need for black studies. Because that gives people strength and energy, and that's where he had that strength and energy. He was around brothers who were strong, who were clear, and who would protect him and so forth and so on. There's a tape when he beat Liston. Liston was controlled by the mafia, and the mafia controlled the boxing game, right? And when you see young brothers today glorifying the mafia and Scarface and all that, it's all bullshit. I say, look, number one, young brother, have y'all seen Godfather 2? What do you see in Godfather 2? You see Fidel Castro and the Muslims whooped their ass and sent them from Cuba and sent them to Las Vegas.
So you're not using our land no more.
They got ready. They have on tape with the FBI, who taped the mafia meeting to discuss moving against Ali and taking over Ali, and since Liston had lost. This is on tape. They discuss that we must reconsider that because we will have a war with the Nation of Islam. Then they also mentioned, if y'all have read Malcolm's book, where he talked about he had 25,000 soldiers, Fruit of Islam, surround the police station like the brother was killed in New York. They discussed that and voted to leave Ali alone. That opened up the space for Don King, what's his name? Bob Aaron. Yeah. Okay. Bob Aaron was a U.S. attorney in the boxing division investigating racketeering. He saw the opportunity and dropped U.S. attorney and jumped into the boxing game. Wow. Same way. They opened that whole space up.
And that's when the fight and all the going out, and then
that they opened it because they backed off of Ali.
Wow.
Because they knew that they'd have to.